Janet with Try It Like It Created, and today I am opening up this new mixed media journal from Grafix, and the Designer Craft Connection is doing a blog hop being sponsored by Grafix, and this is the product they sent me to use for the hop. So let's open it up and see what we have here to use. Alright, so once we open it up, we can see here we've got a variety of different materials. So we've got some clear Dura-Lar, we have some matte Dura-Lar, we have another piece of matte, looks like another piece of clear, although it's not quite as thick. Then we've got some Wet Media Dura-Lar. Oh, that was the clear. And then we've got opaque white Dura-Clear. We have natural chipboard. That's for the, I'm assuming, the front and the back of the binder. And then we also have this black Dura-Lar. And all of this, and you can buy extra insets or inserts, extra pages for your journal. I'm going to put the chipboard on the front and the back, and then you have these discs that hold it together. So with the disc system, you can take it apart, you can work on it, and then put it back together again. So if you want to remove a page, do a little work, and then stick it back into your journal, this is going to be so fun to work with. And I think my project for this might just be starting with working on the covers. Okay, so to put the binding onto the journal, I started by trying to put it all together at once, just big stack, and push these in, and it did not want to work at all. So I'm going to suggest that you do the backing piece first, and then maybe a few of the plastic sheets. They're more giving than the chipboard, and you can see here I'm putting them in here. I would also recommend keeping the packaging together with it so that you know which sheet is which and what kind of material works on it, because I have a variety of different pieces here. So I'm just placing this all together. I have removed out this wet media sheet. You can see it reflecting, it's clear. And so I would say the chipboard is probably the harder of the pieces to put on, and you probably don't want to do it on and off too much because you don't want to break that chipboard down. So there. Our journal is put together. You can see that it opens up, and you can lay it flat and work on it if you want, or you can close it up and just take a sheet out and work, which is what we're going to do. So here is the listing of what's in here, and I'm going to keep this together until I finish my journal. Since it said it worked with Wet Medium, I thought, hey, I'll work with my Gelli Plate. So I'm going to start out with just some alcohol ink. Since it's transparent, we'll just put some down and kind of see how that works first. And then we'll build some up from there. So I've got my ink on. I'm going to roll this out on here. Just to get some nice color. I think that'll work. I'm gonna roll that off. And then because it dries so quickly, to pick it up, I'm going to put some white paint over it. And we may need a little bit more paint here because it's not spreading enough, but we definitely don't want a lot. So let me just put another little dab. really nice thin coat of white. Roll that off to the side. Then I'm going to take a piece and my wet medium piece and put it on there and see how it goes. So I can see I have some air bubbles, so I'm going to try to rub those out before I go to pick up. Okay, so yeah, there's our first layer. Not bad. Alright, so then I thought we would bring in some stencils, and I just grabbed some. And I thought maybe floral. So let's see what happens here. And then I was going to use some distressed oxide. Let me get my colors and I'll be right. So I'm just starting out here with some spun sugar, and I'm just going to stamp directly over my stencil and then try to roll that in some. And then move it over and maybe do another one over here. Let's go with something a little bit darker. Alright, and so with this I am just building up texture at the moment. So we have these two flower pieces. Once again, we're going to go over it with some white. Making it a little bit easier to pick it up. Alright, and then I'm going to put my film down. Trying to keep track. I know it's clear, but we want to try to keep track of which side has the color and which side doesn't. So we'll pick that up. It doesn't look like we got much of the flower, but we are building up some. So I'm going to move my Gelli Plate off to the side. And let's just see what happens if we apply the ink right onto it. Let's see. We could even use a little cosmetic sponge or brush here. That down. So yeah, that's working. So far, seems to be doing pretty well with the different mediums. Put a little flower off to the side here. Whoops. Gotta hold it down. Let's go for another one up here. Now I want to bring in some blue. So I think to bring in this broken china color. Hopefully it's not too dark. To kind of brush it lightly in here. See how that looks. Okay. We'll do some down here at the bottom. Here. so we're starting to build up some textures here. It's looking good. I think the next thing we could do, let's see, is maybe do some stamping. So let me grab a stamp. Alright, so for this one I'm going to use Victorian Velvet and maybe some Chipped Sapphire. So I brought in a floral stamp and I'm just going to ink that up with my Distressed Oxide and then just randomly stamp on here and see. Wow, that's looking really pretty. Oh, I love the detail in the stamp. Okay, let's clean that off a little bit. And then we'll bring in the blue. I like working on scrap paper because I can clean off right as I'm working, and then I can also stamp and kind of see what it's going to look like on there, and if it's too dark. I don't think it is. So let's go in and add this. Alright, so we are building up our textures here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is try some decoupage on top of this, and I don't know, I might smear it, I might ruin it, but we'll give it a go. So I have a 1-layer piece of napkin here, and I'm going to go on top of the napkin and hope that maybe I could get it to bleed through a little. I don't know. Let's put a little on the back of the napkin. I know it's going to break down the napkin some. The decoupage is going to smear. Alright, so I'm going to try to be gentle here. And not go over too much, because you can see here, I don't know if you can see, it's taking the ink off with it. So let's see, what would that look like if we decoupaged on the back? That actually might work better. So let me, since I've decoupaged, I need to bring in a plastic surface here. So we're going to use our plastic sheet from there, and let's decoupage onto the back. See how that looks. Alright. My napkin is wanting to come and play with us. So once this dries, I will peel off the excess napkin from the edges. And then we'll see what else we can do with this surface. So the last thing I'm going to do to this page is, off camera, I sprayed it with a little bit of clear sealant because things were smearing on me. And then I am just going to glue this piece of ephemera down to the page. And what I have here, it was white, and I just used a little bit of watercolor to tone it down to a more pink color that blends in a little bit better. And I'm just going to place that right here, and then I'm going to let the whole page dry. I just love the translucent look of the tissue paper from both sides. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Is that, you know, we glued this onto the back, and this onto the back, and this onto the front. And so when you turn it over, we have another image here that looks different than the front side. And I just love that interactive of both sides of the piece of film.